Hey, what's going on everybody? This is G and I'm Phunken hungry. In this video, we're going to try Cadbury Dairy Milk Marvellous Creations Lolly Bag. So this one is the Pascal edition. So dairy milk, milk chocolate with clinkers, pieces, raspberry flavoured candy chips and beanies. So I'll leave on screen what Pascal clinkers are. They're basically these big chalky pieces of candy or chocolate. I'm not the biggest fan of them personally. You know, I'm sure a lot of people are though. And then it has raspberry flavoured candy chips. And it has beanies. And I believe beanies are similar to like Smarties and M&Ms and that sort of stuff. So I guess M&Ms are by the Mars company and Smarties, I believe, are by Nestle. So obviously this is like the Cadbury version. I don't really know why they don't do the beanies in, you know, like by themselves, but they seem to always put the beanies in these Marvellous Creations. Anyway, I'll leave the nutrition information on screen for you if you're interested in taking a look. Also, I'll leave the ingredients on screen if you want to pause and go through that. But like always, we'll go through the basic ingredients. So dairy milk, milk chocolate with beanies, raspberry flavoured candy chips and clinkers, candy pieces. Product contains milk chocolate, 87%, beanies, 5%, raspberry flavoured candy chips, 4.2%, clinkers, candy pieces, 2.6%. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of these Marvellous Creations. They're not really aimed at me. They're probably aimed more at kids. Obviously, they're kind of like fun sort of candy with all these different flavours and stuff. But I have tried a couple on the channel and I have enjoyed a couple. I'm just not the biggest fan of like popping candy and too much going on in my chocolate. I have tried more different weird flavours since I've done Phunken Hungry, the YouTube channel. So I have sort of, you know, started to enjoy just tasting all these different chocolates and seeing which ones work and which ones don't. But anyway, let's bust this open and have a look. So I'll give it a bit of a Phunken Hungry sniff. So yeah, it just smells like dairy milk chocolate, which is a lovely smelling chocolate. It reminds me of Easter. You know, it takes me back to Easter eggs and that sort of stuff. But you can see in the back it's got all sorts of different pieces in it. This one for some reason has been a bit melted or crushed. But you can see that these Marvellous Creations, they always have a bit of a weird design. I have mentioned it before that they say a serving size is 2 pieces, but if you have kids and stuff, you know, this piece is a little bit smaller than this. Really, it's to make it look kind of fun and different and jazzy and new, but you know, like they're not like equal sizes, so I'm sure some kids would argue who gets the bigger piece. But anyway, I pointed that out in some videos in the past and I just thought I'd point it out again. But anyway, we'll break off a piece and we'll give it a taste. You can see the raspberry chips. They're kind of like jelly, but they're probably a little bit harder. Why they call them crisps or chips or whatever. You see the beanies and the clinkers are sort of almost like a really hard bit of marshmallow or something. You know, like it kind of looks like marshmallow, but it's kind of really hard and chalky. But let's give this a taste. Cadbury Dairy Milk Marvellous Creations Lolly Bag. Cheers. So yeah, that chocolate is definitely a slow burn. Like you have to chew it, and I guess it's a big bit of chocolate. But with that, you kind of have to chew it and enjoy the ride. It's like you're on a roller coaster, and you know you're in for a ride, but you can't just get off halfway if you've had enough. You have to keep on chewing. You just have to go along with the ride if you like it or not. It's full of flavour because it's a fairly big piece of chocolate. There is some parts that are like a stop and a pause. It's like you're reading a book and, you know, you have to pause between the pages, or sometimes between the paragraphs you have to have a bit of a pause, or between the sentences or whatever. You know, you get the chocolate first, then you start tasting some of that chalky Pascal, you know, what are they called, clinkers or whatever they are. Clinkers, it reminds me of like an old show. I think they was called clangers or something, like little mice on a moon or something. I don't know. Let me know in the comments if you know what I'm saying. I'll see if I can see an image and I'll leave it on the screen. But yeah, you taste the clinkers, which is sort of like this candy. I don't know, the easiest way or the best way to explain it is kind of has this chalkiness to it, which isn't the best word to use because, you know, it doesn't sound that nice, but it's not too bad. It just has these sort of like slight fruit flavors. So I believe they have the bag of clinkers is like a bag of different fruit flavors. From memory, it's like, you know, you get like strawberry and that sort of flavors in there, but they're basically just these big dry sort of, I'll leave on a screen of what they are so you can know what I mean if you've never had them before. Obviously a lot of Australians that probably love it or grew up loving them are probably screaming at the screen right now, shaking their fists. I love those clinkers are bloody beautiful. You know, some people might be a bit passionate about them, but they just come across a little bit chalky to me, if you know what I'm saying. Probably not. But anyway, I went on a journey about clinkers then. It's like I went onto the quantum realm of clinkers there. I just went on a bit of a tangent. But anyway, you sort of get that, it's only little bits of clinkers in there, obviously. So you get the milk chocolate, you start getting a bit of a crunch and the flavour of the clinkers comes out. And then as you chew more, it becomes, I guess, a little bit more soft, and you have the gooey sort of chocolate taste again. You know, it becomes a little bit more gooey and chocolatey again. And then you get those little beanies, you know, that you get them, they sort of crunch and you crust them and they have a little bit of chocolate inside them as well. So it's kind of like chocolate inception. You know, there's chocolate inside chocolate inside chocolate, that sort of stuff. You know, you probably even see Leonardo DiCaprio wandering around in the background somewhere. But then right towards the end, it's funny, I guess a lot of the stuff sort of melts and just mellows out and just, you know, blends into your taste buds. But you do get those raspberry chips at the end. Now, they didn't have a huge amount of flavour, but they do have that bit of a crunch to it. So, you know, it adds that little bit of a crunch to it. It's a different texture, the raspberry crisp or the raspberry chips to the clinkers and the beanies. You know, they have those candy shells, but the crunch and the texture of those raspberry chips were a lot different. You know, it just added this nice little texture, this nice little crunch at the end. Now, it's not too bad of a chocolate, but it's definitely not my kind of thing. As I said, it's kind of got too much going on, or as I say, you have to sit there and you're watching your clock because you have to chew and take your time. Because if you just bite into it and just swallow it down like a seagull, or you just swallow it down like a pelican, you know, you just throw it in and you swallow it, you know, you're not really going to get the full experience. You have to take your time. I guess this would be good for a movie. You know, say if you went to see a movie in the cinema, you know, a block of this, because you take your time and you can sort of, you know, I'm not going to use the word suckle. You can slowly crunch and slowly chew and the flavours come out. And it is a nice flavour. Those flavours do mix really well. It is a bit of a marvellous creation. But yeah, I prefer just the chocolate, you know, that's a little bit more simplified and the flavours sort of mesh together a lot more nicely. Like, I like sort of, you know, classic combinations of flavours. Like it for what it is. As I said, the Marvellous creations are probably a little bit more aimed at kids. Different cool sort of fun ideas and flavours in the chocolate. So my rating for Cadbury Dairy Milk Marvellous Creations Lolly Bag Pascal edition, I'm going to give that, I'll be nice and give that a 6.8 out of 10. It's definitely above average. I am giving it some points for, you know, creativity, and, you know, it was nice, it was different. When I go into these Marvellous creations, a lot of times I don't know what to expect, which is kind of fun and exciting in a way. You know, I'm eating the chocolate, I'm like, are these flavours going to, you know, like, work? Because a lot of times they're just throwing in, like, the kitchen sink, you know, they're just throwing in whatever's around. It's just, they normally get a brand, so they got the Pascal brand in this one. Sometimes they collaborated with other brands or whatever. But yeah, it's just like they grab all this stuff and they put it together, and sometimes it works. I have to say, that was a cool and different chocolate. So, you know, if your kids like Marvellous creations, if you like Marvellous creations, if you're a kid or an adult, whoever you are that's watching the channel, if you like Marvellous creations or something a little bit different, or you like Cadbury Dairy Milk blocks and you just want to try, you know, whatever's new, definitely recommend to give that a try. That is not too bad. You know, it's not going to be a flavour I'm going to rush back to finish, but, you know, it's going to be there, and when I'm in the mood for some chocolate or whatever, it's definitely going to hit the spot for sure. This costs $5.50, but unfortunately in Australia, that's the price of chocolate these days. So, you know, it's not more than normal really, it's just the price that it is these days. So my rating for the price, I'm going to give that 5.5 out of 10. So it's an average price, so it gets an average score. But let me know in the comments if you've tried Marvellous Creations. Do you like Marvellous Creations? Have you tried Cadbury's Dairy Milk Marvellous Creations lolly bag? Have you tried that version? Let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree. Did you like it? Did you enjoy it? Did you think it was disgusting? Let me know. Let's have a discussion. But I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, if you could please like, please subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss a video. This was G from Phunken Hungary, and I'll catch you next time. Cheers.